All right, guys, all these following guys won't practice today. Same things I told you guys a couple days ago, but Colton McKivitz, Eric Armstead, Ty Davis-Price, Tyler Croft, Trent Williams, Javon Kinlaw, Tarvarius Moore, and then Nick Bosa won't practice today, but that's just resting the player. Juwan Jennings will be limited with the ankle. Ross Dwelly limited ribs. And that's it.
You mentioned Eric was kind of still being evaluated Tuesday. Any further word on his status?
No change. He's still day-to-day.
What's the plan for Jimmy Ward?
We're going to go put him in practice today. We're not going to do much full speed, just only 2 days removed, but he'll be out there all week, and we'll see if he's ready to go for Sunday.
So there is a chance that he can.
Yeah, there is a chance. Yeah, him and Jason are the same deal.
Do you hesitate at all to integrate new people into the lineup? How good, regardless of how good they are, just because of how well things are going in the defensive back?
Yeah, no, I don't hesitate at all. We'll see how practice goes in these 3 days we have, or, one real day and then kind of 2 half-speed days, but we'll see where we can fit him, how much he can handle, and we'll figure it out for Sunday.
What has Tashawn Gibson shown you since he's been here?
I've seen Tayshawn Gip a bunch in his whole career. Starting out when I was with him in Cleveland, he was a lot younger then, but he was one of the best players on our team then. Then I think he was a free agent to Jacksonville, who I played against a couple times. Played him in Chicago, and I've always thought he was such a good player. And since he's been here, he's been exactly where he's been everywhere else. So a real good safety, and he's fit into our scheme great, and is playing like he's always played.
Is he surprised? He is now 32, and he was unemployed.
Yeah, when you're around someone 8 years ago or whatever it was and gone against them, see them at a high level, and then they're available, and then everyone talks about age and stuff, numbers, so you always expect a decline, which I'm sure there is if we tested him out on a combine. But when it comes to watching him play football and stuff, it's been really good. He was a big acquisition for us.
It's having such a eye-catching season. Is part of that due to Gibson just enabling Hufanga to play close to the line and make plays, that Gibson's so reliable back there that they kind of work well together?
I'm sure that stuff helps, but when he's making plays in single safety, it's because there's a guy deep, and when it's two shell, they're not really tied together. It's about the corners to his side and stuff. So I know they talk a lot of ball, and I'm sure that stuff helps, which you could ask Huff on. But that's stuff Huff was doing last year also. He just didn't have as many opportunities.
When it comes to your offense, is there a common thread why you guys aren't scoring a lot of points after halftime, or are there a lot of multiple layers tied together?
I don't think there's a common thread, just because I think it's been different each game. I don't think we scored after half. You always can chalk stuff up in Chicago to the monsoon that came down. Last week we got 7 points taken off the board, and then we missed a field goal and didn't have the ball that much in the second half. But no, I think it's been different. Each game's different.
Most of his sacks and pressures are so eye-catching. He's playing like 73 to 78% of the snaps. And is his run defense an underrated part of his game?
Yes. Yeah, I think he's just as good in that as he is in the pass game. Nick's an all-around player and really never takes it down off.
The offense in general is having a bit of a slow start, 60 points per game, but it's early and there's still a lot of talent on that side of the ball. So is your thought process that it'll work itself out and the points will come, or do you feel like you need to change something, fix something?
No, we change. Every week's a different game plan, and we're mixing a lot of players. But no, just same as usual. Just keep coaching, try to get better.
Kyle, this is the start of another long stay for you guys, and you guys have had success doing that in the past. Going back to when you first did that in 2019, what was kind of the thought process of we want to start making this a regular thing?
The first year I didn't realize the time difference. Friday was such an important day, I thought, because that's like the only day you get to see your family, so I thought that would wear on guys more. Halfway through that year, I realized how big the difference it is West Coast to East Coast. It's not like East Coast to West. We started going early, always, I think, in our second year. It wasn't until 19 that we did a 2-week trip. And that was just trying to eliminate the travel to where I'm trying to work with the league that hopefully if we're going to get a number of East Coast games, we could at least get 2 back-to-back. And once they did that, then that kind of made our decision easy. And our first time was doing that, I believe, was Cincinnati after Tampa. We went to Youngstown and then played Cincinnati, and we liked it. I mean, I always talk about home field advantage, which is the biggest thing in football because of the noise. But there is something when you go on the road, just the distractions are a little less. There's the people aren't there, even in your own house to anything, and you're just kind of locked into a room. And I think it just helps guys focus a little bit more. And I don't know if it's a coincidence, but the numbers have definitely been a lot better.
Last December, Kittle had that kind of monster 3-game stretch, and since then, he's played eight games and has 21 catches and 220 yards, and I mean, just very non-Kittle-like numbers. Can you explain kind of why his production as a pass catcher hasn't been there?
Yeah, I think the more Kittle is out there and healthy, the more he practices, the more he can get back in the routine. I think that stuff will take care of itself. The plays that went to him, I thought he did a good job on in the game. Kittle affects the game in so many ways, the run and the pass. We definitely want to get him the ball more, but something we're not that concerned about. We think it'll take care of itself just as we get going.
Obviously on paper, Eric, do you have a follow-up if you do?
Is there any connection to, you don't have Trent Williams, you're playing Aaron Donald. I mean, he was in some, particularly in wide receiver screens, which maybe is a little different, but I mean, he was used as a blocker a fair amount, I don't know, much more than usual. But is there something to that, like the game plan dictated?
Yeah, that's always the case with the Rams. I mean, you just usually get less opportunities just with our protection game plan and our run game plan, things like that. So, but I know it's been the case in some other games too. But yeah, usually with the Rams, it's harder.
On paper, obviously the Panthers aren't where they want to be, but what's your focus as you prepare for them?
I see a team that could very easily be 4-0. I mean, there's only one game that they've won the turnover battle in, and they've pretty much dominated that game. Last week versus Arizona, you see the end score and it doesn't look close, but they had every chance to win that, and it was, I want to say 10-10 in the fourth quarter, 13-10. You look week 1 versus Cleveland, they had 2 turnovers, or 1 turnover, Cleveland had none. They still kicked a game-winning field goal you thought it was game-winning field goal with like 30 seconds on the clock, but Cleveland ended up hitting a 58-yarder to beat them with no time. You look at the Giants game, they turned the ball over the first 2 plays of the game, or the first third down, the opening kickoff, then the first third down. They lost that 19-16, a game I thought they should have won. So you see a team that I think is playing really good defense. I think they have some talent on their offense. They've gotten in trouble just turning it over a little bit, which has hurt them. And I think that's similar to us. So I don't look at their record and think any differently.
Trent is so useful to the young offensive linemen as far as scouting opponents and advice. Do you take him on this trip, even if he's not going to be able to practice or play?
I try to take everybody unless they tell me it would help them more to stay here in rehab. So that goes into like how they feel about flights and inflammation and stuff like that, and what he can do there compared to here. But I always try to take people.
When did you have a sense? I mean, Mosley was undrafted and pretty tiny and practice squad. I mean, when did you have a sense like he could be who he is right now?
Watching him on scout team that first year. Yeah, he was the same guy every day, real similar to how he is now, just a football player who thinks about it, who's into it, who doesn't hesitate, and those guys always get better if they can have luck with injuries and stuff, and when he has, he's played at a pretty high level.
Coach, you had talked about bringing Trey Lance around once he's kind of up to speed, I guess, physically. Where are we at with Trey and meetings, and how is he doing in that process if he's already
yeah, he's been in everything so far. I mean, he's with us at the hotel on Saturday night, or it was Sunday night. I'm not sure if he's allowed to go on this trip yet. As soon as the medical clears him to fly, he'll be going on everywhere with us. So he hasn't missed a meeting yet, just missing the practice stuff.
How quickly can you tell a young player is a football player if he thinks about it? Because it seems like at the combine, they're all saying the right thing, and it's a job. How quickly does it take?
I mean, you got a good idea from watching on film, and then you got to be around the person. But sometimes it takes to see them in a few different situations, just how they react to things. Sometimes you can tell through camp how they do, and then you get them on cards and watch how they are with cards. But sometimes you can make a decision too fast and say this guy's something, and then you see him in a different situation, you realize you jump the gun a little bit. So the more experience guys have, the more situations you can put in, the more you can validate it. But usually got a pretty good gut pretty fast. What's that?
Does it work the other way too, where you don't think the guy has it, and then he proves you
Yeah, it does usually. And there's different things that you look at. I mean, it's sometimes you don't think guys have quite enough talent. I mean, if they're here, then they're close. But just this level's different. So sometimes you'll think that no matter what, but they keep doing well, and you're like, man, might as well give them a chance. And then they prove you wrong that they do have enough talent, because it's not just the physical skill; it's everything. And then some guys you believe in so much in their talent. But no matter what happens, it's different when they line up against someone, and that one's takes you longer to learn because of how bad you want it to work out, because you see the ability. But that's why there's so much more to football than just what the eye sees. Man, to probably all sports. All right, thanks, guys.